At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart, you're doing it.
Crazy. Observations TFR 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
What a difference a day makes.
Ooh.
24 little hours. The sun and the flowers. Where there used to be rain. Listen, people. Welcome to Observations TFR episode 87. We come today a little bit solemn, but we still come to celebrate, right? For all those who didn't know, that was Diana Washington. What a difference a day makes, 24 little hours. But if you don't know that, it's fine. Let's keep moving. We come because today on Freakin Friday, we lost a stalwart. We lost a cornerstone in the civil rights as far as the politics of personal responsibility. Right? We're going to talk about what we mean by the politic of personal responsibility. We'll talk about that in a second. But we have lost Cicely Tyson, right? So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my sister, Tonya M. Congress, my special guest host. And she's going to run down a little bit about Cicely Tyson after she tells us how's your morning going on this solemn 29th day of January.
My morning is going pretty well. I laid down maybe about it must have been about midnight last night, and I was up and down. Then I got a couple of phone calls like in the middle of the night because I have friends that are on different time zones. One is out your way, so I think sometimes she thinks that we're on the same time zone. But because I can get up whenever I want to get up, it's not a big deal. But I was up this morning still, even with those late night calls or early morning calls. I have my nutrition here. I have a red apple and an orange today. And this is a lot. And the thing is, this will probably be my main meal for the day. I got to get a veggie in there. So I had some greens that I sauteed the other night, and I have some walleye made in there, and that was the night before last, so I didn't even eat that last night. All I had for dinner last night was a bagel. That's all I really had a taste for, and I didn't have really that much of an appetite. So I'm looking at my refrigerator and I'm thinking, I waste a lot of food and I'm only buying for one. So what this is telling you is that I really don't eat, and it's not anything special that there is something special that I'm doing, but it's effortless for me not to eat. And I think that what it is that food has finally become a secondary thing for me. Everything that I've been preaching and teaching, which as I preach and teach, I'm moving in the vein of what I'm preaching and teaching. So now it's here that food is pretty much a sustenance and not just for pleasure. Even the way I season and stuff, I don't highly season. I keep things, light and have the natural flavor of the food. So, man, I'm cooking with gas here, and then I'm down 20 pounds. Most of that is water weight, though. I was holding water because I was on salt overload. And so I'm starting to feel pretty good here. I'm seeing some flattening here in the stomach area. Some flattening is going on. This is good. This is good. So I got my water in the spot mug. Don't forget about our merch. Continue to support us. We're on every day. And it costs money to be on every day. All right? To bring you what we bring you. But I'm ready to get this show on the road for today. We lost. I'm looking at. I have her pulled up on Google, and they have all the different pictures of her through the years and her aging and everything. And she was just a woman of great grace, a woman who her aura preceded her. It came through the pictures. And I told you earlier when we were speaking, I saw it in her eyes that she was gifted, spiritually gifted. And I could see it. I saw it in every movie. I saw it. And so for her to reach almost a century old, she covered a lot of history in that industry. I'm sure she endured a lot getting her start. I'm sure she saw a lot of stuff because, so much BS. Wherever we come into something, there's some kind of threat of a takeover because we tend to do that without effort. And so she was such an extraordinary actress. I'm sure she had her share of jealousies along the way, but she probably was too sweet for them to really do what they wanted to do to her. But she was sweet, but she wasn't nothing to play with either. So I see her, when I look at her, I see godliness. So I see somebody who is sweet where she needs to be sweet, but don't play around with her though. That's what I saw. But how you doing this morning, Dee? And how you?
I'm doing pretty good. Of course, for those who are just coming in, we're talking about Cicely Tyson. So let's run down a little bit about her when she was born and some of her accomplishments real quick. This is Friday, the last Friday in January. Can you believe it? 2021. There will be many more Januaries, but there will never be another 2021. So let's run down some of her when she was born and all that. And speaking of what you were talking about, she saw a lot. There's a show that's on OWN called Cherish the Day, right? And it was about it was a anthology of one couple's ups and downs, and they went through different years of their ups and downs, them breaking up, them getting back together. And Cicely Tyson played a character that the young woman was taken care of during the day, right? Who was 94, 95 years old, and she was a person that had come from out the silent era and had come into the talkies, and so it was she was skewed back into that time. So she really got a chance to talk about Hollywood as that character. So that's an interesting perception on your part. Let's go through some of her accomplishments real quick.
Cicely Tyson was born December 19th, 1924. Her time of departure was yesterday, January 28th, 2021. She was an American actress and fashion model. In a career spanning more than 7 decades, she became known for her portrayal of strong African American women. Tyson was the recipient of 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 4 Black Reel Awards, and 1 Screen Actors Guild Award, 1 Tony Award, an Honorary Academy Award, and a Peabody Award. Having appeared in minor film and television roles early in her career, Tyson garnered widespread attention and critical acclaim for her performance as Rebecca Morgan in Sounder in 1972. She was nominated for both the Academy Award and Golden Globe Award for Best Actress for her work in the film. Tyson's portrayal of the role in 1974 television film The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman won her further praise among other accolades. The role won her 2 Emmy Awards and a nomination for the BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role. Tyson continued to act in film and on television in the 21st century. In 2011, she played the role of Constantine Jefferson in the award-winning film The Help. She also played the role of Ophelia Harkness in the American Broadcasting Company's legal drama How to Get Away with Murder. Since the show's inception in 2014, for which she was nominated for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series 5 times. In addition to her screen career, Tyson appeared in various theater productions. She received a Drama Desk Award in 1962 for her off-Broadway performance in Moon on a Rainbow Shawl. Tyson was starred as Carrie Watts in the Broadway play The Trip to Bountiful, winning the Tony Award, the Outer Critics Award, and the Drama Desk Award for Best Actress in a Play in 2013. Tyson was named a Kennedy Center honoree in 2015. In November 2016, Tyson received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian honor in the United States. In 2020, she was inducted into the Television Hall of Fame.
So let's look at this. She was born in 1924. 1934, she was 10. 1944, she was 20. Right? Well, 19. 19, she would be 19. Right. So look at who she would have seen and known of in her early lifetime. Just going through the lineage here, just going through the line. W.E.B. Du Bois, A. Philip Randolph, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and of course she knew the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because they are first cousins. Who would have thought? Who would have known that Cicely Tyson and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan were first cousins? But they are. So that means that what beats in her heart, and what beats that brought her determination is a little bit more than what would meet the eye, right? It's a little bit more than what would meet the eye. So, what's the topic for today? Of course, the topic is Cicely Tyson, but the broader topic, and the phone lines are open if you want to call in, 213-943-3358, and remember Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson, how did she leave us? Topic. With all of the giants leaving, how did they leave the world they so wanted to change for the better? Why does it take them leaving for Generation X to take its rightful place to move the culture forward? Cicely Tyson, how did she leave us? Crazy Dee and Tonya M Congress discuss situations we might not have heard if we were not listening or watching the news, or stories that didn't hit the main corporate news outlets. So this is what we're talking. We're talking 2 parts today. We're talking, how did the greatest generation and the civil rights generation leave us? How did Cicely Tyson leave us? Did she leave us better off, or was were things starting to churn back because the reins were not let loose to let Generation X move? That's the discussion for today. 213-943-3358. We are on. You can feel free to leave your comments in the comment section on the Film Review Live channel where we're live right now. Or you can feel free to leave your comments on the Crayzon Deeyon page where we're live right now. Also on You Found the Spot and the Consciousness, Politics, Entertainment, and Females page also on FB, right? So we're simulcasting over quite a few platforms today. Make sure you like, share, follow, and subscribe to where you're at, where you're seeing us at. We want to say what's up to all the people who are watching us on Vimeo, on FB, and on YouTube. That's right. So look, what do we mean when we say, how did they leave us? Well, with Cicely Tyson, that's a double meaning. How did she leave us? The question is, Cicely Tyson had a new book out that she was promoting. She had just been interviewed by Gail maybe a day or a couple of days before she departed us in her sleep. That's what they said. They said she departed in her sleep. Now, question is, did Cicely Tyson, because she was going around and was going to push the book, and she had to go out probably in public, did her people tell her to get the experimental agent? Did she take the experimental agent like Hank Aaron had done January 6th, and then 16 days later he was gone? Did she take the experimental agent? Did she take the experimental agent a week later, and now at the end of the month she's checked out? This is what we need to know, right? We need to know that. And are people going to, because listen, if Hank Aaron took it and then Cicely Tyson took it, and Cicely Tyson was healthy, a vegetarian, healthy for all intents and purposes, still acting, walking, spry, talking, faculties all there. If she took the shot and then she departed in her sleep, I think Hank Aaron departed in his sleep. If she took the shot and she departed in her sleep, that's all that needs to tell me. All the other stories, about what happened with the Bell's palsy and all that, this is just an accumulation and the topping, not the icing, because this would be very detrimental to the psyche if this is true. But I'm just asking, did she take the shot? Was she vaccinated against the virus? Have you been able to find anything, Tonya, as we have this quick discussion?
The only thing that I've been able to find is that two places say no cause of death was known. Now, her manager, who had been her manager for 40 years, Larry Thompson, just said that she died Thursday. He would not say where she died or whether a cause of death is known. So that hasn't been revealed yet. They talked about her on the trail for her book, and she released a memoir, Just As I Am, and it says she was 87. Public records indicate she was 96. They said she was always coy about her age, and that's something that's an industry standard. There's often we keep our ages a secret in the industry. I mean, I wouldn't, but people do in the music industry and the acting industry, simply because the stigma is once you get older, you're less useful or whatever, which is stupid. But so no cause of death yet. I would be interested in knowing that as well. I would be interested in knowing whether she was of the mindset, because I'm older, I'm more susceptible to getting the virus, so let me take the vaccine as opposed to a child. I lived this long, um, and and I didn't seen a whole lot of stuff, whole lot of flus and a whole lot of kinds of things. So I would be interested to know if she did take that vaccine, because if she did, then to me that's a no-brainer.
That's right. So Cicely Tyson, Emmy and Tony winning actor, has died at age 96. And thanks Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry always stayed true to his people, to generations. Now, as we get started with the memes, as we get this day started, as we get into things that you might not have heard or seen on the news, on the the corporate news outlets, certain stories that you might not have seen. Okay, here's one. Chad Wheeler's brutal assault of black woman draws attention to NFL's shameful domestic violence histories. News One. Now, there's been a steady diet on the internet of people saying, how come the news media hasn't picked up the story about him beating up this black woman? Had he been a black man, then the story would have been picked up by the main news media. Well, here it is, people. There's been a steady diet of people saying that, right? My thing is, if the so-called quote-unquote main media isn't picking it up, then the main black media is picking it up, and it's up to the main black media not to complain about what the Caucasian media is doing, but to do the job of the media and cover it. You understand? We so often as a people keep asking and saying, how come the main media doesn't cover this, when in actuality, guess what? You're covering it, and your main media and people are listening to you like we're covering it. So here's another example of how the story has unfolded so far over the internet, which speaks to what I was speaking to just a few minutes ago, and we have to change our mentality on things. Let me bring this up a little bit so it can be seen, because he sure did give this woman a butt woman. So this Ray Rice comes back up. Everyone remembers Ray Rice and the elevator incident, right? However, as you see they say there's a double standard, the double standards of the NFL. One story goes viral and the other story is quiet. So tell me, what's the difference between the incidents? I'll wait. Alarm clock. Look, this woman is basically bludgeoned. Look at her nose. I mean, blood coming from her nose and everything. With the Ray Rice situation, they got into it. She was swinging at him. He clipped her and he put her out. You know what I'm saying? You know, that power from being a running back, right? But anyway, this man goes and pounds her like it's out of a scene from one of those movies about football, and how he just smashed her face in and there is nothing. But guess what, people? We are the media and we are covering it. And if we keep pushing, he will be canceled and he will be off the team. We can't worry about what the larger media. This is how it's going to go down. This is how this is going down, so that everybody will be clear about it. This is how this is going down. American black media is going to cover the white offenses against black people, okay? Black media is going to cover the offenses against black people by Caucasians, and the Caucasian media is going to cover American black people in a certain way because that is what they were partially based on and what they were created to do. Right? So when you're asking them to do something, don't you realize that they are doing what they are supposed to do? Right? That's just the way it is. You know, you can't cut it any other way. It is the way it is. Smash the share button, smash the like button, connect at least 5 of your friends in and let them know that we're on, because you know why? Because we're going places as we do every day. Now, you've seen this story, and I don't know if you've seen the story covered correctly, right? GameStop shareholder sells off stock valued at over $1 billion. GameStop shareholder sells off stock valued at over $1 billion. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to the story, and maybe people haven't, this is a misleading article, right? What's really happening is some people got together on Reddit and they saw that the Wall Street was devaluing GameStop, and they decided to keep buying stock and started talking positively about GameStop to the point that all of a sudden GameStop started to go up, and people who were getting stock at $5, $10, $20, they became millionaires overnight. Those who were trying to devalue the stock lost money on devaluing the stock, and then the government, the United States government, stepped in and stopped what was happening, and Robinhood, which is a consumer-based way for you to go on and be your own stockbroker and choose the stocks you want and put as much money into those stocks as you want and watch them rise. They locked the people's accounts, locked people from being able to trade or sell. So as the government stepped in, and as the shareholders on Wall Street side began to again devalue the GameStop stock, those who were on Robinhood, they started to watch the stock fall. Their accounts were frozen, so they could not sell to get rid of the stock and collect their money. So as the stock price fell, they watched their money fall. Right? They watched their money fall. This is a travesty and a disaster, and it's something that they're not really covering. To be a millionaire one day and you waited just one day too long to take the money out and watch your accounts be locked, and then your money start to dwindle down because they are devaluing GameStop again. You're losing your money, and all you did was invest in a hot tip that said that the stock was good, and you are victim to this. So there's been class action lawsuits. But to bring more clarity to the story, right? To bring more clarity to the story, we do have video. Now I know what you say. You say, "Oh my God, he's got Hannity from that station." Well, you best start listening and watching to other news, because the other news is not covering it. They probably covered it like GameStop shareholders sell off stock valued at over $1 billion, and that's how they covered it, right? But anybody who is not playing in the stock market, but working to be their own stockbrokers and taking a chance on stocks, this is totally wrong. So we're going to play this so that you can get a total understanding of what's going on. And of course, as we do, we will stop and give our own observations on this. So let's see what they say.
Tonight, a David versus Goliath story is now unfolding. David was winning until the sword of big government, jumped in to help Goliath and save Goliath. As we speak, retail investors are and have been squaring off against Wall Street and winning. GameStop closed today at over $193 a share. That's down from, look at this, a whopping $450. Excuse me, just a short time ago, it was trading around $5 a share. And then two major trading platforms restricted customers' ability from buying more stock and selling stock. Many everyday investors now are vowing to hold the line and keep sending this message to these hedge funds on Wall Street and those they see as trying to rig the system. Tonight, as a group of small-time Main Street traders taking on the big hedge fund Goliaths who got caught in a massive, what they do is they short stocks and a short squeeze, and they lost billions after retail investors, they banded together to buy stocks like GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and others. Now, how's the establishment responding to getting beaten by the little guy? Well, they've been freezing trades on apps like Robinhood and even censoring online message boards. And get this, we're now learning tonight, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, right there, she was paid a whopping $800,000 from the hedge fund Citadel, which is one of the funds at the center of this controversy.
Okay. So now, as we're sitting here and we're looking at this, right? We're sitting there looking at it. Now, I'm not on Robinhood yet. And I don't know now, because they could just freeze your money when you got a good stock. I got to ask myself, is that a good thing? But I'm on Cash App, and Cash App has that option where you can, pick stocks, what I'm saying? You can get pieces of stock, or you can get full stock, or you can get a full stock, a bunch of stock, right, on something. And they had a note that disappeared, but they had a note, and they said that they had Nokia on the note when I opened up my app, right? And they said that Nokia, and underneath it said AMC, and it had a message. It said that these stocks will be locked, and you may lose money on them because you won't be able to sell. You won't be able to do anything with it. Now, this is a message, right? So I don't know how Nokia got in there, because I went and looked at the Nokia stock didn't move. So they weren't even in there, but I guess they were locking it because maybe that was something that they had word that the people on Reddit were pushing or going to push to make it do what GameStop did, right? So it said that you may lose money. So they froze your ability to do anything to sell off the stock, to add more money to the stock if it was going to go up or not. This is a violation. This is a violation. So if the story was not clear, and maybe certain news outlets that you watch, they're not telling the story fully because they are part of the corporate news. The corporate news outlet. So let's continue on with this story.
Now ask yourself, we're going to hire a speaker for an event that you have. Let me see. Who could I hire? Oh, Janet Yellen. We'll give her $800,000. We have to face a simple truth here. There always has been too many financial, Wall Street, and political ties with Wall Street and people in government. The one and only Lou Dobbs. You know, I think Janine and your monologues scare me more than my own monologues. I don't know. Good to see you, Lou.
Great to see you, Sean.
All right. Can we break this down? Hedge funds, shorting stocks. It's part of a process. Little guys banding together. Now looks like then they stop. People can't cash out at this point. Things got ugly today.
The word rigged, we heard it a lot under the previous president, didn't we? This is a rigged event, and that is Robinhood, which has all sorts of great, positive, wonderful connotations. Its CEO today deciding to disrupt the market, and particularly to the disadvantage of those who were buying stock in a company that big money had said could only decline. But this is a complicated story, more complicated than it's being presented, because there are a lot of hedge funds on the other side of these trades standing with those folks who started this acquisition effort, buying up the stock as the shorts, primarily from the hedge funds, moved in. But there are also those hedge funds on the long side of this, Sean. So it gets complicated. The actions taken by Robinhood and several other internet brokerages today to change the rules of Wall Street right in the middle of this event probably means that Robinhood will very likely have, it could in fact lose, the current owners could lose control of that company. The SEC has an absolute responsibility to move in and to stop this nonsense. And I want to say that 2 class action lawsuits have been filed against Robinhood for what they have done here over the course of the past 12 hours. And it's good to see. What is not good to see is in a presumably active Biden administration here, with the likes, all sorts of market regulator inclined advocates in the administration. They've done nothing. The SEC hasn't stepped in. FINRA hasn't stepped in. All of the exchanges are mute. This is an outrage, and it's.
This is an outrage. Do you understand? That the little guy is being snuffed out by the big guy. This is supposed to be a consumer-based platform so that you can go in, put your money in, and basically it's like betting on stocks, going against the other guy, the hedge funds. The hedge funds hedged it, lowered the price, then they borrowed upon it, and then when the stock went up, they had to pay back what they borrowed off of it. You see what I'm saying? That's how this works. But we're going to explain it a little bit. We're going to let the professionals explain it to you even more concise than what I'm saying now. But the bottom line is, it is a travesty. It is something that shouldn't happen, and it makes you look at it and say, you penalize people. Robinhood and Cash App seem like they were doing it too, except for they don't have GameStop on Cash App, right? But they did have Nokia on there, and they had AMC on there, and they had said both of those were locked, and you may lose money. In other words, you're not going to be able to touch it, so you're going to watch what you made dwindle, and that's got to be heartbreaking. You were a millionaire for a day, and then, or depending on how much stock, you might have got to a billionaire, and you start watching the numbers go down artificially, and you're losing money, and you can't get your money out.
Let me say something about that.
And they're holding on to your money. That's the real story of it. Think about it. You put your money into this stock. You were listening, you were reading on Reddit and on other internet-based platforms about how GameStop is still viable. So you went and go pick up some stock for $5, $10, $20, and you do that. And then, like what Boyce Watkins said the other day, if you did this, if you picked up GameStop at $20 a share, and you got how many ever shares, you are a millionaire right now. Congratulations. And to watch you go from being a millionaire to going back to basically zero, that's a hard pill to swallow from a company that's you're supposed to be able to trust with your choices in stock.
You know, I have several stocks on Robinhood, and that's exactly right. Is that, once that I happen to have come across that article, and I hadn't even checked my Robinhood at that time yesterday, but I had, as of 2 days ago, one of my stocks had tripled in value. It had tripled, and I had it for a few months, and it was for some hospital imaging, some imaging equipment, and it had tripled in value, and today it's down to just double in value. So what I'm looking at is, do I pull out? But then you can't. You're stuck. You're watching it fall, and you can't pull out of it. Now that pisses me off, and I got a thing anyway about any entity or person having a foothold or a toehold over me. So what this looks like to me, this looks like a bullying tactic to me, because these consumer-based stock option programs were for people. It enabled, because when I came in buying my first stock for $10. That's what I could afford at the time a few years back. And I came in, so that enabled me to get in on the stock game and at least get my foot in the door and get started. But now it looks like you're trying to eliminate people that don't have but so much from getting in. You want to keep people at a certain place, and so you just squeeze them. You take them and you just squeeze them. They pull their money out. Now you're saying they can't pull their money out. So they watch their money grow for a little while, finally, and then you put the squeeze on them. And to me, this is symptomatic of something much bigger. And I had this conversation with someone earlier this year. Well, at the top of January, actually it was last year, the end of last year. They said, I have a feeling like we need to get in and invest in as much as we can, take our yield and snatch it out, go in quick, pull out quick, go in, get the yield, pull out quick, and take our money and go elsewhere with it and change it to euros and stuff like that, because the value of the dollar is dropping. This is the reason why all this little creative stuff is going on, and it's the little guy that takes the hit for it. The little companies, the people who are not, six-figure dollar earners or seven-figure dollar earners, we are the ones that's going to take the brunt of this, because they don't care. They don't really care. They don't really care about us. Michael tried to tell us. Prophet Michael Jackson tried to tell us.
It's something, right? It's something about that, right? So this meme came up, and I thought it was interesting. It said, this stock market snit is going to cause crypto to become mainstream. This stock market snit is going to cause crypto to go mainstream. Let's continue with the video, and of course we'll stop in between and give our observations. Here we go.
It's an outrage. It's got to be fixed, and this isn't the stuff for a commission of some sort. This should be an outright, in my opinion, criminal investigation.
Fox News contributor Dan Bongino's with us. If anybody, I want to hear the commentary side of this, it's from you, Dan, because you've just been stomped on. You know, you're partners with a bunch of guys. And by the way, you know, when you start Parler, a competitor to Twitter, odds are not exactly with you in the beginning. But you pick up steam, and then the big tech companies come in, boom, they squash you, shut you down, eliminate any competition. I happen to pull for the little guy. I kind of like that they stood up to the Wall Street guys and were winning. Little complicated in some aspects, but I'm dying to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, you know, it can be complicated, but it's really not. I mean, essentially, this is what happened. You had a bunch of big Wall Street guys that shorted a stock. They bet it was going to go down. So they borrowed it. They didn't have to buy the stock. They borrowed it on the cheap. They then sold the stock, right? They sold the stock, and say the stock was $20. So they sold it for $20, assuming it would go down. So being that they borrowed the stock, they figured then if it was going to go down, they could buy it back on the cheap to return it and pocket the difference. Well, Sean, what happens? When the stock doesn't go down and continues to go up and up and up, you still got to buy back the stock you borrowed and pay it back. GameStop went from what, 20 to over 300? Think about how much money was lost. Now, I heard a commentator on the network say earlier today, well, I like a lot, but I disagree with him totally. He said, you know, this isn't an us and them story. There's, you know, a value to hedge funds. Listen, there is a value to put and call options. There's a knowledge component. Shorting is not always the worst thing in the world if a company's really doing bad. If a bunch of people short it, that means the company's probably in trouble, if it's not rigged. The problem with this is when a bunch of Wall Street guys started to lose money and a bunch of regular, just retail investor, Joe average Americans like you and I all of a sudden bought the stock, then all of a sudden the SEC's involved. We're hearing federal law enforcement's investigating. Investigating what?
There's natural resentment because a lot of companies that are being shorted by the hedge funds, they get financially hurt as these guys bet on their decline, and it hurts their business. Then on another aspect of this is they're not just buying 100% of the stock, which they would borrow, as you rightly point out, but they're literally buying phantom 140% of shares. In other words, there's only 100. But they're shorting 140.
Yeah.
Well, that would be based on, predicated on an entire lie, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the scam, right? Is that if you don't have to buy the stock, and it's really just a casino bet for you, and here's where it gets even uglier. And then you have a platform and a social media platform, say you're one of these big hedge fund guys, and then you get to go on TV and use your social media vehicle to then trash mouth the stock. Then how is that not a rigged game? That's what I love about how the Redditors got back at these guys. They went on Reddit, used their own platform, and said, you know what? We're just going to keep buying and we're going to hold forever. And by the way, it is rigged. These big guys have been protected forever. Government bailouts, donating to the Democrat Party. It's totally big. One quick point. I know we got to run, but the wealthiest zip codes in the United States, Sean, donated to who? Joe Biden. And all of a sudden, these people go back to work for the administration and then go back into Wall Street later. It's a total scam.
They go back and they work on Wall Street again after working in Joe Biden's administration. This is what people talk about when they say that the game is rigged. Right? Like we come to you every Wednesday on Stock Wednesday, right? And we bring you information about stock that you should have. And as it rises and you get to a certain level, all of a sudden they're going to be able to lock that stock because the hedge fund guys really didn't believe in it, and then they're going to be able to let it dwindle, and you go from being a millionaire and you're watching your money dissipate. They should have thought twice. Robin Hood should have thought twice and acted once on that, because these dudes might lose their situation. They are the spearhead, but other companies were doing it too. Cash App did it too. What do you got to say?
My advice to anybody is this is a philosophy I have in life. I don't ever tie myself down, or I don't I don't set my mentality where it's all in one basket and if this falls then my life is over. I never um I mean, I don't know if you call it being nonchalant, or I don't know what you call it, but I'm just not like that now. This meme that says the stock market snit is going to cause crypto to become mainstream, I wouldn't trust that either. I would trust that just to a point. Right now, I'm into crypto. Well, I'm into Bitcoin. Some coins are not advantageous. So now Bitcoin in the blockchain industry is a whole nother thing. When you start talking about blockchain, this is where banking is. And listen, if the information is made available to the general public, such as they're going to be trying some crap there too. Because the whole thing is, it's supposed to be hidden information. It's supposed to be information that's only out there for the elite to stay the elite, you know. But, we have all the talk about the Illuminati and all that. Well, I'm Illuminati too. I'm not nervous by that word. That word, the Illuminati, means to be illuminated. The illuminated ones. They're illuminated to something. They're illuminated to knowledge that I am too. This is why I say to you to learn how to bob and weave and stick and move. Bob and weave and stick and move. Don't go and get settled into anything. Go and don't be greedy. You're gonna have to learn how to. You're gonna have to choreograph a new dance. You're gonna have to choreograph a new dance. It's a dance. You gotta enter the dance, but you're gonna have to learn how to choreograph by some different steps. Now, you come into it, tiptoe in, remain anonymous, go in under the radar. Don't try to get too much. Get a little bit here, little bit there. It's all accumulating, but you're getting it from different sources. You in and you out. You in and you out. You're not committing to one thing. And this is how we're going to have to move. We're going to have to learn how to move. See, we've been talking to y'all about so many different things. We've been talking to y'all about everything. We've been covering the gambit. You got to learn. This is a movement. And you have to learn how to think different. You got to learn how to change what you value. What it is, listen, man, the American dream is a nightmare as long as there's a note on it. American dream, a house with a white picket fence and 2 cars, 2 kids. This is the American dream. Kids through college with loans out the yin yang. Anything that's got a loan attached to it is not a dream. It's a nightmare. A dream is when you can pay cash for everything. And until we get there, there ain't no dream. Quit buying into it.
It was all a dream. Reading Word Up magazine.
Yeah,
okay, anyway, let's move on. Now, we were talking about Africa. We were talking about Africa on the previous, on the Wednesday show, on the Stock Wednesdays. The commodity Africa. We were talking about that. Did you check out that stock? We showed you in nauseam. You need to go back and listen to that show on tune in on Google Podcasts and on Stitcher. You can go listen to those. Just Google hashtag you found the spot, and there's the podcast. You click and then you scroll down to Stock Wednesdays, the commodity Africa. And you can listen to that. We gave a great stock and we gave examples and reviews. But this came in from BBC News. Letter from Africa. The continent no longer needs lectures from the U.S. Letter. Letter from Africa. The continent no longer needs lectures from the U.S. And so what does that mean? I mean, they have China over there. They have the Indians over there. They have other Europeans over there. You know, they just opened up that basin that we were talking about in southern Africa. And so they're saying we don't need the United States to say anything. You've got your own problems with the Keystone pipeline. You don't have any time to tell us anything. Now, let's see what Tracy Trace had to say. Yes, double standard. Where is the Chris Brown treatment? Where is the Robin Roberts interview? She will handle Wheeler with kid gloves. She also said, wrong to block their accounts. Horrible. Wow, sounds like MLK Republicans looking out for the little guy. How about that? The Republicans looking out for the little guy for once, huh? They really should. I mean, you really should be thinking that they are, in a way, looking out for the little guy in a lot of ways right now, right? Let me bring this up. So let's continue. Speaking of the Keystone Pipeline, do you know that Joe Biden has signed 40 executive orders? That's 40 executive orders in 9 days. 40 executive orders with more coming in just 9 days. Now, as I remember correctly, and I always have to jog people's memory because people don't remember what happened last week short of what happened yesterday. So we have to keep jogging people's memory to keep it active. Get on the treadmill. Let's keep that mind active. Just don't get on the hamster wheel. But anyway, so as we're going through, you know, about a month ago, we played the tape where Joe Biden was yelling at the CBC and other civil rights, they're not civil rights leaders and the CBC. And he was saying that the Constitution wouldn't allow him to sign executive orders and that there's nothing he can really do, and that the American blacks should go on ahead and get with the Hispanic vote because they're a larger voting bloc. But we were supposed to be the ones who helped him get into office. Okay. So he said he couldn't do anything with executive orders, but let me be nice because he is the president of the United States, you know. But all of a sudden, he signed 40 executive orders in 9 days, and not one has to do with American blacks, not even the race equity one, which we discussed in nauseam yesterday on Truth Thursdays. Catch up. So we're talking about the Keystone Pipeline, right? So let's go on, because you know I clipped this up, and we're going to take a look at what was happening with the Keystone Pipeline, with this signing of this bill. Now remember, this is what we said on the show. This is exactly what I said on the show when I said he signed this executive order without first having in place the wind power or the solar power, so that those people could automatically transfer over and be trained in those job positions to take over those job positions. So, but it goes even deeper.
It's after 9 p.m. in our nation's capital, and that probably means that Joe Biden is likely fast asleep. It's been an exhausting few days for Joe. He signed a record 40 executive orders and actions into, quote, law after just 9 days in office. In other words, he has tripled the amount of executive orders signed by Trump, Obama, and Bush combined at this point in their presidencies. Now, instead of the unity that was promised, Joe is literally acting unilaterally to enact every aspect of his radical socialist agenda, and he's doing it all with the stroke of a pen, and its consequences are severe. Biden's litany of executive orders are causing real, serious, life-changing problems for tens of thousands of hardworking men and women, our fellow Americans, right here and right now. They are suffering. Thousands already receiving their pink slips after Joe canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, stopped border wall construction. Up to 58,000 more could soon be unemployed because of this new ban on drilling on federal lands. A lot more to follow. Congresswoman, with all due respect, your Green New Deal policies you're bragging about Joe's enacting, they've resulted in great American workers.
Now, we had to stop that for a minute. Now, the AOC was nothing but a bartender. Where's her education? Where's her knowledge of what people do for a living in the rest of the United States? You see, it's always good to be in your little bubble. It's nice. You can be in your little bubble and you say, in this world, this is where it is. And, you know, I can see what's happening with the people and I can look at and the little guy, $15 an hour. What about the people that were making $250,000 a year being pipe fitters on this pipeline? What about the people who were skilled workers? They went to school to be skilled workers. We're going to get on the politics. We're going to get on the American black politic on this in 1 second. You know I'm not going to leave that out. But these are skilled people. They're in unions. You know we're going to get on the American black politic on that. You know. Talking about equity. That's what we're going to be talking about. But let's stay on task right now. You're a bartender who was making whatever you made in tips. You win this because you have a gift to gab, and then you start putting this agenda together. Joe Biden is effectively Mr. Magoo. And most of the time, if it wasn't for Mr. Magoo's little dog, Mr. Magoo, or by happenstance, Mr. Magoo would have been smashed by all kinds of stuff because Mr. Magoo was blind. Biden is not blind physically, but he's blind in the third eye because he is deficient. Now, that is just the way it is, but just in case people want to argue, that's just my observation. That's my opinion on it. The man signed one of the executive orders, and then he put the pen in his pocket, and then he couldn't find the pen. Did you see that? Anyway, okay, look. This is what we're talking about, being a business person. You don't make a move on something until it is already structured on the other end to make it advantageous. You're dealing with people's lives, with their livelihood. If they're doing that to Caucasian people, we're going to get on the American black politic in a minute. If they're doing it to them, what do you expect that they're going to be doing to you? Because we told and we warned, Martin Luther King warned that if you let them do it to us one day, they will do it to you. And this is what it is. They are doing it to them because they actually, most of the Caucasians that are different ethnic groups actually have no claim to this because they did not build this. They came in, if they had money to buy property, property was black bodies. Then they were given land. That's why people come in with intimate domain and take the land right from off of under people because they really have no right to the land because it was given to them. Let's continue on with this. We're dropping a lot of info, and you can go check this stuff, okay? You can go check it. Listen, So let's go on. So AOC was nothing but a bartender in her own little New Yorkian bubble. What about the rest of the world? What about the heartland? What about LA? What about in the border states? What about Florida? What about Alabama? What about Tennessee, Kentucky, Mason-Dixon line, Ohio, Illinois? So what about the Midwest states? I mean, like, what's going on there? Let's continue on. No matter how you cut this, you can say, oh, you don't like where it's coming from, but you have to be willing to get out of that bubble that you're in and watch other things. Or you're going to be in that echo chamber and you're going to believe everything that's in the echo chamber. But it doesn't matter where it's coming from. If the information is correct, it's correct. Let's continue on.
Fellow Americans getting fired. Tell me, where are they going to work next week? And how are they going to pay their bills? How are they going to put food on their table or pay their rent or make mortgage payments or car or truck payments? How are they going to pay for health care or insurance or day-to-day living? Do you even care? Because I see zero compassion from you and John Kerry and Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg and, let's see, Granholm and the rest of you. 3 times the executive orders in the same time frame than Bush 43, Obama, and Donald Trump. Jen Psaki, I thought you were promised you weren't going to lie to the American people. That would be on, the fact-check lie list. And, of course, Biden's 40 and counting executive orders don't exactly spell unity, do they? And just today, he signed off on an order banning, get this, top priority, the term China virus in his White House, or Wuhan virus, from being used at any federal level. I don't know why, even though China and Wuhan were talking about geographical locations. You know, even though China, hate to say it, Joe, they were responsible for the virus. Remember, they put the travel ban in effect. You couldn't travel out of Wuhan to the rest of China. You couldn't travel from the rest of China to Wuhan, but you could travel from Wuhan anywhere in the world.
All right. Now, remember, when Trump did the ban, they said he was xenophobic. He was a xenophobe. He was in fear of other cultures outside of his own. He was practicing xenophobia. Now, when we talked about the race equity executive orders yesterday on Truth Thursdays, we laid out exactly how it goes, how they start with American black, then all of a sudden it flips to minorities, then it starts flipping to immigrants, then next thing you know it was down to xenophobia, talking about the Asians and protecting the Asians, and oh yeah, by the way, we might get to protecting American blacks. He's put a ban on Brazil, on the UK, and on South Africa. If that's not xenophobia, I don't know what is, by the definition of how they used it against Donald Trump, because he hit 2 dark-skinned countries. And he's opening up. Did you hear that the Taliban is reforming in Pakistan? Right? They're reforming in Pakistan. He signed the executive order to reverse Trump's wait and see until we can figure out what's going on. That's what Donald Trump said. Until we can figure out what's going on with the Islamic countries, who's sending over these people over here that want to harm great white Satan, we're going to hold up. Makes perfect sense to me, because I don't want to be collateral damage because somebody is on a great jihad to kill a great white Satan, when I'm trying to make this country come to its full fruition of advancement for American black people, American black politics, so that we can take it and move it forward in our rightful places. This guy right here, Biden, knows not what he's doing. It's simple. You sign executive orders before you put other work in place. These people are going to be unemployed.
And then,
go ahead.
And then you don't have anything in place, or you don't have the funding in place to accommodate all of your ones that are unemployed. You know, once again, the United States of America is a legally chartered corporation. And as much as y'all didn't like Donald Trump, he was a corporate guy. And I had always maintained, well, let's see how the corporate guy runs the corporation. And for whatever reason, y'all were enchanted to be disenchanted with him. You didn't realize that he ran it, he's running it like a corporation. Well, did you happen to know it was a corporation? So if it's a corporation, it's under corporate laws. This is the reason why he could do a lot of the things that he did. And then your people wasted the taxpayers' money doing all kinds of investigation that came up a big fat zero. You wasted taxpayers' money and time, manpower, all of that to investigate him, and came up with absolutely nothing, as he knew you would. And that's why he was so cool with it. He was so cool with it because he knew he was within the confines of the law of the United States of America, corporate law, to do the things he did. So now we're back to the politician, the one that can go into chameleon mode and talking all kinds of swang. Come on, man. You know, the one that can go in all this swang, twang, and swang. You know, pretty soon he gonna break out with the old 90s dances, the butterfly, excuse me, and all that stuff to show y'all he down with you. And you're gonna be like, yeah, that's my president. He cool. He cool. He cool. He cool. He gonna do a lot of cool things while he going back to an executive order. They showed a picture of executive orders this tall sitting on the table. And he just signing. He just signing away. The mad scientist signing away. And y'all don't know what it is. Ain't nothing. Do you even question how many of those are for us? How many of those executive orders that are there that he's signing pertain to us as black people that are due reparations that nobody's talking about? How many of those executive orders have anything to do with us? Come on, man.
Come on, man. I know some people don't like it. They say, oh, they're talking about him and they talking positive about Trump. We're just stating facts, because I didn't vote for either one. So that ain't no stain on me. That's no stain on me. That's stain on you. It's stain on you because we'd already told you. You know what I mean? You got to raise your finger a little bit higher. There you go. Yeah, stain on you. That's right. Uncle Sam played you. That's right. My name is Pato Bonton, and this is my opinion. My name is Pato Bonton. Do you know that song? I mean, you should listen to that. I mean, God, man, it's in the music. It's in the music. Let's continue on.
And by the way, where's the order banning the term, I guess the German measles is next, or the new COVID South African variant of COVID-19? But hey, when you're ruled by executive fiat, I guess facts don't matter. Debate certainly doesn't matter. And apparently, neither do American workers. They're the people that wake up every day, they work hard, they play by the rules, they obey the laws, they pay their taxes, they raise their kids, they put in there, they wake up, shovel coffee down their throat, they make the kids a little lunch for school, they race off to work, they do their 12, 14 hours, they help their kids with homework, they feed them, they put them to bed, and they literally pass out exhausted every day. Well, they won't have that luxury anymore if this continues. Tens of thousands will be losing their job. Joining us now 3 of those Americans directly impacted by Joe's climate crackdown. Business manager of Pipeliners Union 798, Danny Hendricks, is with us. Danny, thank you for being with us. Welding foreman and member of the Pipeliners Union 798, Billy Burns, and the president of the Western Energy Alliance, Kathleen Skama, is with us. Thank you all for being with us. Danny, let me start with you. All right, so you have 87 of your members laid off the day that Joe Biden signed the order. Now, I don't want to get nosy, but it takes a long time to be a professional pipeliner, right? You spent how many years have you been in the business?
I've been in it 42 years.
Okay, I don't want to get too nosy, but can you give me a range what people are making that have been doing this with the kind of experience that you and the guys laid off have?
Well, on a good year, a welder could make $250,000, $300,000.
$250,000 or $300,000. Did I hear you right?
Yes, sir.
Danny, is that job going to be easily replaceable? Because I would imagine this is a very specific skill for this very specific industry. Am I right about that?
Well, there's more certified heart doctors than there are certified pipeline welders. I mean, this is a highly trained craft.
Okay, now, you heard John Kerry, Pete Buttigieg. How do you feel? How do your 87 fellow members laid off on the day he signed the order feel now?
Well, you know, I feel for those 87 members, and a lot of them I know personally. And but what I really worry about is the next step, where you put the moratoriums on permits and the new work coming in, where you're drilling or exploring or permitting for new wells.
If you notice his name is Hendrix, like Jimi Hendrix. Now, at first, when I first saw Jimi Hendrix's name, I thought that Jimmy was playing on the Hendrix, like D-R-I-C-K-S, and he just shortened it. He said instead of Jimmy, J-I-M-M-Y, he went J-I-M-I, and then said Hendrix, H-E-N-D-R-I-X. But lo and behold, here's this guy. His last name is Hendrix, like Jimi Hendrix, which means we're looking possibly at Jimi Hendrix's great grandson of his people's slave master. Now, American black politics. The Pipeline Fitters 798 Union. How many of those 87 members that got laid off, how many of them do you think are American black, making in a good year $250,000 to $300,000 a year? I would go out and bet to wager that for comfortability at the job for Caucasians of all different types of nationalities, I would go out and venture and say 0. Big fat O, but my sister can go check that real quick to be sure. Because the unions were created to keep American blacks out of the jobs that we already knew how to do, so that different immigrant populations can come in. So in one way, I don't feel anything about this. But in another way, I feel for it, because if they're able to do that to them, what are they going to be able to do to us who don't make $250,000, $300,000 a year? Who never got the chance to be in the apprentice program to one day be a pipe fitter on an oil pipeline to make that type of money. Huh? So it's a two-way street that you're looking at it on. And you know that none of the executive orders, Martin Luther King warned them, warn the different ethnic groups. We play Martin Luther King every time we start the show. These are the descendants of those people that were telling the Negro to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And Martin Luther King was still warning them that if you don't take care of the least of these, the ones who actually built it, one day you will be feeling what they did to American blacks. You will feel it, and they're doing it to them now. Doing it to them now. No rhyme or reason. No, nothing. It will take America to its knees, because where is the money coming from to keep America going? There is no solar program. There is no wind turbine program yet. There are no wind fans yet. There are some, but they're really not doing anything. So where is that? Can you have wind fans in New York, in Buffalo, New York, when the snow comes down? I'm just wondering, where is the electric gonna come from if it's not coming from coal or nuclear? Where is the electric gonna come from in the winter months? Have we ironed that out yet? Hey, somebody who you may know the science. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. Have they ironed that out yet? You know, those fans still spinning when there's 2 tons of snow? I'm just exaggerating on the number, but it's tonnage. It's a snow in Buffalo or the lake effect in Cleveland. Like, that fan down there on Lake Erie. Remember, we got one on Lake Erie. That don't turn hardly, does it? We got that one. When I was there, it was that one. Maybe they got more, but that boy don't turn. Come on. Look. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, except for it's sad. Because I'm looking out for American blacks. I'm looking out for that. If they can do that to these skilled workers, what are they going to do to the non-skilled worker?
Let me say something.
While AOC is going to be making her bank, because she should say, I did a good job after about 10 years in office and move on. But no, she's going to want to be Nancy Pelosi. She's going to want to be Auntie Maxwell. She's going to want to be them. What you got to say?
You know, what you all have to think about is, because you're so fragmented in your knowledge base, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, but you haven't connected the dots. Now, the big thing is global depopulation or depopulation. I'm sorry, global depopulation. And what kind of criteria do you think they're going to use to measure depopulating? So they're going to need to keep, now this would be in my mind, if I were depopulating the earth and it was up to me, I would take the top percentile of the most intelligent people. So seeing as that y'all don't research, well, I won't say that. So I would take the top percentile of the most intelligent people. Even to be my lower level workers, I need the top percentile of my most intelligent people. So once I eliminate, let's see. Now, see, y'all gonna be mad, and it's okay. Y'all gonna be mad. I'm gonna make y'all mad. But to some degree, I include myself in here too, so y'all don't feel slighted like I'm looking down my nose at y'all. So what would I eliminate? I would eliminate old people. I would eliminate fat people. I would eliminate unintelligent people. I would eliminate slow people. I would eliminate all of that. I would keep the top percentile of the most intelligent. Out of the top percentile of the most intelligent, my lower level workers would be the intelligent that were not in the best shape, but they could still get around. They could still act in servitude, but they were not in the best shape. And my top rung would be my most physically and my most mentally high standing people to do what it is I needed done. If I were a ruler and a dictator and I were depopulating the earth, these are the things that I would do. Now, don't be upset. All I'm telling you is to get yourself in a position. Right now, I'm still considered in the fat realm, right? So I'm getting myself out of that. So y'all don't feel so bad that I said that. But listen here, I'm dealing with realities. I'm dealing with realities. I'm not here. We're not here to play games. We're telling you so that you to foreknow is to be forearmed. If you go and do something about it, if you go and position yourself, you'll be forearmed. Now, he's signing these executive orders, just signing, and he's doing it with emotion because most of it is in an effort to just let's get rid of everything Trump did. This is not how a leader makes decisions. Coming in like anybody's woman. Even women have more of a resolve than that. You're going to just come in and start reversing stuff. Just reverse. Oh, he signed that? Reverse it. He signed that? Reverse it. That's ridiculous. And this is what you chose as a leader. Somebody who can't remember where they put their pen in between sitting in a chair and opening up the executive order. Y'all better listen. You better be able to see the forest through the trees. You better be able to see what this is and see which way this is headed. And if you don't know which way it's headed, if it's confusing for you, that's enough. If it's confusing, that's enough to let you know you need to be proactive.
Let's keep moving. We played enough of that. We played enough of that. You can go see it for yourself. Get the rest of it. They go on and talk about some other things, and they talk about, and they asked which way did the union leaders lean when they were pushing for votes. Both of them said Trump. One of the dudes seemed like he was lying because his eyes dropped. Looked like they were going for Biden, but now they're paying for it because they're out of a job. All right, let's keep moving here. Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio was an FBI informant. Proud Boys leader Enrique was an FBI informant. I know that the white folks that are in the Proud Boys are hot right now. They say you can't trust those Mexicans because the Mexicans are for the United States government because, look, I live out here in Las Vegas. And I can tell you the way that, what I've seen, the Mexican people will, and the El Salvadorian people and all that, they try to look down on the black people, but they kiss up to the white people, even though the black people will be the ones that are more skilled. They still have that mentality that they look down on the black people. So when they talk about black and brown coalition, there is none. I need you to get it through your head. So when Biden was saying, you need to get with the Hispanics because the Hispanics vote Republican. And no matter how they try to do what they do, letting in, turning the 100 million, dreamers into citizens, taking your jobs. The 90,000 refugees a year that they want to let into the country, taking their jobs. The 500,000 Indians from India that they are going to let in. Have you been in the hospital system? Don't you see what happened under Obama's 8 years? more to come. And can we ever get just a black person that speaks American black? Because we know what they think about Busta Rhymes made all his money in the black community, but he says the blacks in America don't have culture, but you're rapping in what we made. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Okay. China is reportedly using anal swab tests to detect high-risk COVID cases. Now, I've heard of you catch a fever and you take a thermometer and they say to get the best reading you need to stick it up the rectum. Why has everything got to stick up the rectum? And then the swabs, wouldn't the swab kind of pull off I don't know, but China is reportedly using anal swab tests to detect high risk COVID cases. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're a high-risk COVID case and they got on the PPE, they don't have to diddle you up your ass to find out that you have COVID. They can still go through the nose and park the swab to the left and pull it out and be able to know that you have COVID. You don't have to be diddled, right? Which brings us to this next one, which I wonder if they use the anal swab test to detect this. But Michael Strahan tests positive for COVID-19. Michael Strahan tests positive for COVID-19. Prayers go out to him and his family. He has those twin daughters. He has the Caucasian ex-wife that's putting him through the ringer, trying to get more money, even though he has custody of the kids. All right. Here's one, people. Here's one that's a question. It's a question. It's a question. You need to ask this question real quick. If your pet chicken was named after the last thing you ate, what's your chicken's name? If your pet chicken was named after the last thing you ate, what's your pet chicken's name? Tanya, what is your pet chicken's name?
Orange.
The last thing that I ate would be broccoli. I would say my pet chicken would be broccoli, or I would name him Green Bean. My chicken, Green Bean. But wait a minute now, to be totally honest and open, maybe my pet chicken might be named Chicken. All depends on what's happening that day. If I get under my 220, I'm at 226.6. If I get under my 220 to balance out, I might have to put a little chicken in the diet. So his pet name, matter of fact, he might be on the plate, but his name would be Chicken. But right now it's Green Bean or broccoli. Let's keep moving here. Right. But speaking of being steadfast, get your smartphones, put on your QR code scanner. Scan this QR code. It takes you to our latest fundraiser and purchase one of these steadfasting royal purple t-shirts. All proceeds go to expanding the already quality programming with more programming, right? So if it goes down too fast, like it's getting ready to come down right now, all you have to do is rewind after the show is over and catch it, or you can go right over to the You Found the Spot group page, become a member, and scan it there, right? Here we go. Here's another meme. Don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of yours. Don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of yours. Let's keep moving through these memes here. This is a good one. I thought this was real good. I thought this was excellent here. All right. So it says, thank you for ordering success. Success kit. Hustle, one focus, one optimism, one discipline, one failure, one risk, one patience, one criticism, one persistence. Total cost, hard work. I thought that was a great meme. I thought that was great. It was creative. Now, here we are right here, right? This is one. Now, this one is being pushed. This train of thought is being pushed by Eddie Griffith, co-comedian. Like this train of thought. Smash the share button, smash the like button, because this is very important. This is very important. His train of thought is, let me bring it up bigger so everybody can see it. His train of thought is, if you can smell the gas from your ass, though through that mask, that shit ain't working. If you can smell the gas from your ass through that mask, that shit ain't working. Now this is a rework from someone who said that if you fart through clothes, then and the clothes don't stop the farts, then the mask is really not stopping anything. But I want to tell you from experience, from dealing with desert fever out here in Las Vegas, that the mask does work. Now, this comes from off of the concept, okay, you blow wind and it comes out your pants and, you know, people can smell it, right? It doesn't hold in. The whole concept of a mask is like clothing. You put on clothing to protect yourself from the elements, and for the most part, you're protected. If you have on jeans and it turns 30 below, you put on another layer of clothing, maybe a long john, one piece or two piece, and you are protected from the elements. You put on the gloves and you are protected from the elements. However, you can still pass wind, and the wind comes out through the clothing that is protecting you from the elements, but you are still protected from the element. And so this is what it is. It didn't say that it was going to protect you from smelling scents and aromas. It said that it will be an outer protection to protect you from the elements that come along with the virus. And it's just like clothes. So this sounds slick and it sounds good, but it's a rework from off of people talking about, you know, if you can smell farts through your clothes, then you know the mask doesn't work. But I could tell you from experience, from desert fever, that the mask does protect from the particles in the air, right? Which brings us to this. We've got our masks, right? We've got our masks. That's right. We've got our green mask. Show them the green mask, Tanya, in practical application, if you would. You see it up here on the screen in the ad. You can take your if you have a PayPal account, right? Go to your PayPal QR scanner on your PayPal. You place the QR scanner up on the QR code. Scan the code and will take you to the order form, right? Where you can order this mask for $25. Shipping and handling is included. Allows 7 to 10 business days for the mask to come out to you. Include your name and your shipping address as instructed on the QR code ad right here, right? That's another mask, but that's not the one we're moving right now. We're moving the green one. And so for $25, you get it. So scan the QR code and you will get this mask in the mail within 7 to 10 business days. That's right, people. And that's what the mask is. Put the mask on. Let them see what it looks like, because it has a chin. It has a chin grip underneath. So you put it on, right? And then there's a chin sewn in that you, wow, wait,
Now I gotta take my headphones off.
You gotta take the headphones off. Our model is having difficulties. But as you put the mask on, and as you see, it goes on there, and it's a chin sewn in, and it pulls down, and it gives it that nice tightness. And there is a compartment on the inside where you can put an extra filter in for extra protection from the elements, like putting on long johns. And there are retractable straps so that you can adjust to your facial fit, right? So put your headsets back on. What'd you say?
Okay, those adjustable straps there, and they're nice and tight. This is nice and tight, and so that gives it that tight fit. In fact, that's the best fitting mask I've ever seen. That's the best fitting mask I have. I have several that I bought and paid more than $25 for, and they don't have that, that adjustable strap like that, and it's secure. It's not going to get real worn out. So you guys get a mask and then not only that, it also has on the back side here, it has this insert pocket where you can stick a reinforcement. There are reinforcements that you can stick in that pocket for extra protection. I don't like those because it's hard for me to breathe with the reinforcements, but they do sell them.
That's right, people. So we are... Did the civil rights, the greatest generation and the civil rights generation leave us in a lurch? As they're leaving, they weren't willing to relinquish the reins to Generation X, and so now we're sitting here as those that are in their 80s and their 90s are leaving now, and we're now here to take it on. But they did not move out the way. I thought the perfect times for them to move was the 90s, when they were still in their 60s and 70s, and they or 50s, 60s, 70s, and we would have been able to get the information and then move forward with it and push in our way. And so as they leave, how did Cicely Tyson leave us? Remember, I told you that was like a double meaning. Like, did she leave us? What, did she get the shot or she didn't? And how did she leave us? She worked, and that generation, people in that generation worked to make the world better than what it was when they came, as far as race equity is concerned. And I would have to say that things have turned back, and we have a segregationist in the presidency signing 40 executive orders that have nothing to do with American blacks, while he told American blacks that there's nothing he could do because the Constitution held him up. Didn't hold him up from 40. So I think they're not leaving it well. And they're still, and the people like Al and the others who are in that in-between generation, it's not quite Generation X, are still trying to follow that greatest generation and civil rights generation playbook, and that needs to go out the window, and it needs to be in your face. We're not voting for you, and there's going to be some problems because you know that they're clipping us now late because I'm getting into the politics, the American black politics. There's going to be some problem. There's going to be a problem because we're not going to vote for you, and you know that the Mexicans and the Hispanics vote Republican. So there's going to be a problem, rich Democrats. This Sunday, people, what's the point? 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, playing on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Make sure you check your listings, but once it goes up at 9 a.m., it usually hits around 9:30, about a half an hour later on the podcast platform. So you can listen to it there and binge listen to all of the episodes of What's the Point, my sister's show on the Spot podcast. Hashtag you found the spot. What's the point? Talk about it.
What's the point is so titled because there's a point to everything we give you. You know, starting Sundays is the top of the week. So the messages that I'm bringing you are life application messages from a biblical perspective. And a lot of the times, most of us have the testimony that we've been given surface teaching. If it hasn't transformed your life, if it hasn't transformed you into wanting to be more like, I mean, you know, we sing these songs, you know, I want to be more like Jesus. I want to be more like Jesus. What would Jesus do? I mean, what would he do? Are you, at what time do you put into action those songs? They sound good. And they prick your emotions when you're you know in the building with everyone else, but in your day to day, how are you applying that, and how is it transforming you as a person from just being mere flesh to spirit? So what's the point? The point is to transform you. All right, but on every Sunday from 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or is it, you said 9 to 12 or 9:30 to 12:30? Or 9:30 and 12:30?
No, it's 9 a.m. Pacific.
9 a.m. and 12
noon
p.m.
Eastern. Right.
Okay.
That's when you come on.
So take the time to listen. If you are not able to catch it then, you can always catch it post-broadcast, but make sure you go in, like, share, subscribe, and hit the Cash App button as we continue to expand and bring you quality programming. Okay? Thank you.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, later Sunday afternoon, Sunday, January 31st, episode 145 of Hashtag TFR Podcast Live, the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast. That's the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D, along with my wife Tracy, and we review movies, music, culture, politics, society on this podcast we call Hashtag TFR Podcast Live. What's happening? What makes this the happening of all happenings, the event of all events? Well, Wendy Williams' movie comes out the day before along with her documentary called What a Mess. And that comes on Lifetime on Saturday, starting at 8 p.m. The movie, 10 p.m. the documentary, right? And we're reviewing both on that day. You need to tune in because this is her event. That is an event that is showing a woman who has persevered through so many things. It's going to be open. It's going to be no holds barred. It's going to be telling the exact facts of what's going on from her point of view. Then we're going to be reviewing The Little Things that just came out today. The Little Things, Denzel, Remy, and Leto, right? 3 Academy Award winners in one film called The Little Things. It is a detective thriller film. Denzel is brought out of retirement to help Remy Malek get at Leto, who they believe to be a serial rapist and killer and dismemberer. Yes. And then finally, we review a film called American Skin. That's right. Executive produced by Spike Lee, directed and starred in by Nate Parker. American Skin takes a look at the phenomenon of race soldiers, where a man who has put everything into his son to make him a decent human being tried to place him in the best of schools, tried to keep him out of harm's way. A chance police stop, and his son is murdered by a police officer, and the ends at which a father will go in his right mind to get justice after justice was denied. So we're going to review all 3 of that's Wendy Williams movie, documentary following The Little Things, Washington, Remy, Leto, and Nate Parker's American Skin. You have to tune in. Sunday, January 31st. It's the last Sunday in January 2021. Can you believe it? This is the last Friday. This is the 29th. When we come back on Monday, it will be February. We will be thick at the beginning of Black History Month. Get ready. We've got shows that are going to rock the boat, shake the middle. Remember that line dance? Rock the boat, shake the middle, work the middle, shake the middle. Anyway, when we come back February 1st, it will be Black History Month. We won't be back until February. That's the first show back in the first day of February. Can you believe it? Unbelievable how fast this time is going. By the time we get to February, I say that if you don't have your plan set, you didn't miss the summer. When we get to February, if you don't have your plan set on releasing what you're going to release, music, whatever you're going to do, calendars, whatever you're going to do for the next year, you didn't miss the summer, Jack. You didn't miss it. Because that should have been planned way 6 months ago for the summer. You should be letting out your first promo right now. If you didn't miss the summer, I'm just forget about it. So people, look. We are proud to bring you this programming as they're clipping me now. I don't know why they're clipping me. We're through all of the politics. Ha! Told you I was going to work out that problem. We weren't going to have that problem again because I'm kind of technical on things. So we didn't have that problem that we had yesterday. We are proud to bring you hashtag Observations TFR Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We are proud to bring you What's the Point Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, every Sunday morning. And then on Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, hashtag TFR Podcast Live, the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, the husband and wife team reviewing films, bringing you reviews, quality reviews on movies to save you pocket revenue. Right? Hashtag Observations Monday through Friday, bringing you information that one day may save your life. That's right. So we are proud to bring you this quality broadcasting, and we are expanding to bring more broadcasting. We've told you all about that. We're going to expand and keep expanding to bring you this quality programming. We have programming up that spans the whole week. You can hear it on TuneIn, on the Google Podcast, and on Stitcher. All you have to do is go to Google, type in hashtag You Found the Spot, hashtag YOU Found the Spot, all one word, and it comes up and you click podcast and you can listen to us and binge listen to us at your convenience. We're there. We're making it happen. We're bringing the information necessary. So again, we are proud to bring you this information. We are proud that you tune in with us Monday through Friday and on Sundays and all the different programming with the Just Film Reviews, where we break away our film reviews and play the film reviews to save you pocket revenue. They play all during the week. We appreciate you tuning in to all of our programming, going over to the podcast providers and listening to us. And what can we say? We'll see you back on Monday, February 1st. But don't forget, this Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern is What's the Point? And later that afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern is hashtag TFR Podcast Live, the flagship program of The Spot. Hashtag You Found the Spot. You know the spot. We'll see you next week.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made the curators thick of the Hollywood fringe. Community, heart,
Observations TFR, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.